On October 27th, we'll be launching a new podcast called In Sickness and in Health. I'll be your host, Kara Gale.
Well, my mom grew up with fibromyalgia, and she was always more into the alternative healing style of it because she does not respond well to medication in general.
We had in my family these two completely diametrically opposed ways of dealing with illness. We had the, completely wallow in it and medicate yourself to death and have everybody rolling their eyes at you, on one side.
My father's big catchphrase was walk it off. I remember one time I sprained my wrist or something along those lines, and he told me to walk it off. And I remember walking and being like, this isn't helping.
Join me as we talk about living with chronic illness and disability, medical traumas, and everyday uncomfortable healthcare experiences.
When I first got sick, thinking that I must have just had a bad flu or I had food poisoning and it would just go away in a week or two. And then, weeks drag into months and months drag into years.
Because it's like an awkward thing to be like, what's going on with my body?
All I could do to describe it was like, I don't feel good today. And it started being every day.
I had been in the hospital for 2 months when I got diagnosed.
Wow.
Because I was misdiagnosed with cancer.
We'll be talking a lot about misdiagnoses and denial from ourselves and from our doctors.
After you've been to 20 doctors and they all tell you you're crazy, maybe you're just going to start believing it.
I did.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with you, but why does it hurt?
I just remember being really overjoyed that there was something, and then really, really angry because I knew something was wrong, and here I'd had all these doctors just like shoving me aside and telling me I'm, a hypochondriac.
We'll be talking about how difficult it can be to find understanding from the people around you. Friends, loved ones, and even strangers.
A couple friends, I think, took it the wrong way, that they thought I was just not hanging out with them because I thought I was too cool, and that would never be the case. I don't think I'm cool at all.
She'll think that because I'm laying in bed all day, it's because I'm lazy.
And I park in the handicap spot, and I come back and there's a note on my car. And I feel like anytime I'm walking back to my car, I'm waiting. I'm like waiting to get to my car, and I've got this like feeling of dread because I just know that someone's going to have seen me walk out of my car and they're going to put something on my window and I'm going to start crying.
But they never really gave me the chance to really explain what I go through on a daily basis.
We'll be giving people that chance to tell their stories and talk about important issues related to health.
Had I not been in an economic position to be able to do that, had I not had really good insurance, had I not had a family that could take the time off of work to drive me, because I was in no condition to drive myself, the ability to travel out of state, these are all things that helped me get diagnosed. And it still took 2 years.
I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV. But I am a patient, and I have been for a very long time. People need to talk about this stuff. I know I do.
I was also weirdly silent about the whole thing. Like, my family knew what was going on and one or two of my closest friends, but I absolutely would not tell anyone else. Like, I just never, ever talked about it.
We want to normalize these issues and reduce the stigma so we can all feel a little less alone and a lot more comfortable talking about it.
I think more people actually have to come out and talk about it. If nobody's talking about it, nothing's gonna change.
So join me as we take a look at the human side of healthcare.
I just want your bathroom key. Give me your bathroom key. Don't lock it. Actually, just keep the door open so I can have a running start.
We'll be talking about working, relationships, accessibility, advocacy, and how to find wellness even while living the chronic life.
I consider myself a healthy person. When I go to the doctor's office and they rattle off all the conditions that I've been diagnosed with, I don't necessarily sound healthy, but I consider myself a healthy person.
Well, you're perfectly healthy except for everything that's wrong with you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You can find us and all of the platforms we'll be posting the show on at insicknesspod.com and on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at insicknesspod. So subscribe, tune in, and tell your family, tell your friends, hey, maybe even tell your doctors.